Most people rely on smartphone apps to pass the time, but your iPhone or Android definitely wasn't built for gaming. These handheld game consoles are, and they make for a great distraction. They have better battery life, actual buttons, and tons of games that can keep you occupied for hours. In today's video, we will be sharing top 5 best handheld gaming consoles that are worth buying. But before continuing further, kindly hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you never missed any update from us. Let's continue with our video. Number 5. Analogue Pocket. The Analogue Pocket is the company's first attempt at a handheld game system, designed to play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance cartridges with the same care and accuracy as their home consoles. Its screen is so high resolution compared to the original handhelds that it can reproduce how their LCDs looked as easily as it can make every sprite look razor sharp. Its audio reproduction is pristine, and its controls feel tighter and more responsive than any emulation-based device I've used. The Pocket takes the best parts of playing with an original Game Boy and combines it with a screen that looks far better than any Game Boy ever did. If that isn't enough, you can connect it to your TV with an optional dock, develop your own games and apps for it with free programming software, and create your own chiptunes music. The Analogue Pocket is the only Game Boy device you'll ever need. The Pocket's design is unquestionably inspired by the original Game Boys, with a vertical form factor that places a screen directly above a directional pad and face buttons. The chunky black handheld measures 5.9 by 3.5 by 0.9 inches, with a solid feeling, matte black plastic chassis. The Pocket's front holds a 3.5-inch, 1600 by 1440 LCD screen, a plus-shaped direction pad, 4 face buttons, and 3 buttons for start, select, and menu near the bottom. Number 4. AYANEO Air. The AYANEO Air is the most exciting of those handhelds yet, in that it's something of an anti-deck. The Air is small and easy to handle in the way that Steam Deck is not. It has the OLED panel with the inky blacks and incredible contrast that the Deck's mediocre IPS LCD does not. Also, for good or bad, it runs on Windows 11, meaning that it plays everything, something that remains beyond the Deck when running the default Steam OS. First impressions are compelling, exactly because of its miniature form factor, like a kind of hybrid between Switch, Switch Lite, and PlayStation Vita. But it's at this point we should point out that there are actually 2 versions of the AYANEO Air: a standard model with a 28-watt battery and a thicker, heavier Pro model with a 38-hour variant. Battery life, as we shall discover, is a real problem on the standard machine. What both have in common are the same basic aesthetics, the same excellent analog sticks and face buttons, the same lovely display, and the same SD card reader. I found the shoulder triggers a little spunky for my taste, while the shoulder buttons feel a little insubstantial. But there are some genuine nice ideas here, such as USB-C's top and bottom, both capable of charging. In terms of specs, the AYANEO Air has a bewildering array of options, so let's boil it down to the bare minimum. There's an entry-level version with 8 GB of DDR4 memory and a 128 GB SSD, which I think you should discount straight away. Number 3. PLAYDATE. The PLAYDATE is an odd, but friendly-looking little device. A 3-inch, yellow, plastic square with rounded corners. It's a scant 0.4 inches thick, including the direction pad and face buttons sticking out from the front panel. It features a 2.7-inch, 400 by 240 monochrome LCD screen that's slightly offset to the left, with a small speaker grill and menu button to the right of it. Game Boy-style controls, consisting of a direction pad and A and B face buttons, sit below the screen. The top edge houses a power button, while the bottom edge holds a USB-C port for charging, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and holes for the built-in microphone. Metal grommets sit on the PLAYDATE's top right, bottom left, and bottom right corners and extend through the system's body. These are presumably mounting holes for the optional stereo dock and cover. And then there's the crank. A metal arm mounted to the PLAYDATE's midpoint folds out from its resting position to reveal a yellow plastic tab. It's a rotary input for the device, providing single-axis analog control for PLAYDATE games. You can also crank it up and down to navigate menus, if you don't want to use the direction pad. Despite making the PLAYDATE resemble an emergency radio, the crank does not charge the battery. Panic says that the battery provides 8 hours of active power. All of these physical elements are immaculately neat, thanks to teenage engineering. Even with a Game Boy-like layout, the PLAYDATE looks wholly unique and feels like a premium device, all while remaining accessible and friendly. The PLAYDATE screen might lack color and rely on dithering to produce grays since it's purely monochrome rather than grayscale, but it's very sharp. There is no backlight, and the screen is quite reflective. This means you won't be able to see it at all in the dark. And while it looks good in the sun, you must carefully angle the PLAYDATE to avoid glare. Number 2. Steam Deck. It's built from the bones of Valve's prior hardware, but with a much more focused, singular concept that doesn't try to replace gaming PCs. It's a Nintendo Switch alternative more than anything else, only bigger and more powerful, and with a separately sold dock. The Steam Deck runs on Linux, but the SteamOS front end is incredibly simple to use, and it lets you easily install and play many Windows games via Proton. The Linux backbone includes a full desktop environment, which leaves lots of room for tinkering and classic game emulation. Valve's Handheld is a terrific device for taking your Steam library on the go, but the software still has some quirks that need to be addressed, especially if you want to go all in on emulation and game mods. It's nearly a foot wide and weighing almost a pound and a half. The Steam Deck stands firmly on the unwieldy side of what you would consider a portable game system. The Nintendo Switch with Joy-Cons attached is over 2 inches slimmer and half a pound lighter than the Steam Deck. That's a bit surprising, since the Steam Deck and OLED Switch both have 7-inch screens. You can pack the Steam Deck in a bag, but it's far too big to tuck into a jacket or comfortably play on the train. A significant portion of the Steam Deck's frame consists of the control surfaces and grips, which are considerably wider than the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Cons. Number 1. Nintendo Switch OLED. The Nintendo Switch OLED delivers an awesome display, improved speakers, and better kickstand, but it may not be worth upgrading for existing Switch owners. If you are a newcomer to the Switch, then the Nintendo Switch OLED is the model to get. You get a notably improved display, as well as a few other quality-of-life tweaks, which promise to make for the best Switch gaming experience around. The Switch OLED has the neat advantage of making the best Switch games look even better, thanks to its brighter and more vibrant display. If you have a modern Android smartphone or iPhone, take a glance at that, as it will have an OLED display, and you can get a taste of what to expect from the Switch OLED. It might be best to hold out for a full 4K variant, which may or may not be in the works. Still, taken on its own merits, the Switch OLED is a strong machine. It still has a killer hybrid design, a terrific library of games, and an admirable focus on gaming first and foremost. Nintendo claims that the Switch OLED can get between 4.5 and 9 hours of gameplay on a single charge, depending on which games you play. The Switch OLED employs the same battery as the base model Switch, so the battery life may not be tremendously different. In our testing so far, Metroid Dread ate through a fully charged battery in about 5 hours, which is in line with Nintendo's predictions. We hope that you have enjoyed our video. Kindly give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon, so you never miss any update from us. Thanks for watching the video.